Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Some amazing price action so far. Spectacular. All right. IB is back up to 48%. Oh. Okay, perfect. All right. We have to take spot calls. Nah, 1.35 stop, but the contracts are shot up. So saying it. Things have been pretty choppy so far. There hasn't been a lot of follow through, momentum up or down. Just it's not really 173.80 is major resistance on the IWM. Things look like they're just going to continue chopping around. The NASDAQ is holding support. The IWM is showing strength. Everyone should be up at like 20% probably. At least 20%. Now it should be up way more than 20%. See, the contracts are moving. The setups are just not good because there isn't like enough follow through momentum. So right now, right, clearly this looks like a very bullish setup, but the way that we've been seeing how they move the market so far today, if people try to end up going long on this candle, generally this should just continue flying, right? But because the IV is high today, and because the market has already been choppy, it sucks because this would generally be a really good setup. They would bounce it back off of like 391.50 and then continue it up, but there hasn't been enough follow through. So that's why I was hesitant to do anything really. When I at 9:42 I went short. I was gonna share that, and then literally we had a big like $1 candle to the downside. So then I was just like, all right, I can't. That was moved too quick, and yeah. But let's just see. So I said 391.50 would be a retest level, and let's see if they could hold that and continue it up. But would be nice. Let's see. Market just feels heavy. Did you guys hear the trade? Hello? Did you guys take the long? All right. Make sure you don't let this go red. You could always look for another play. Don't get married to any position. If something is up 20% and then you end up holding it as it falls down 20%, there's no point of doing that. Markets still look weak, but if they want to rip it up and rip bears, this would be the perfect opportunity to do so. They ripped it down below 391.50. They came down to 391.30. It's difficult for new bulls to enter because this isn't like the best setup to go long. But it would basically, the setup would mess with both sides of retail. So if they rip it up. This is the 1 minute time frame. Usually the setup would explode and we would have a new high day, but IB is high. Meaning, so when implied volatility is high, then there isn't as much fluidity in the market. If we get a close below 391.35, close below 391.30, 391.35, then we can start falling very heavily. Meaning off of this setup, for example, because they're trying to paint a bullish picture. So all of the late bulls that are trying to enter into the market, if they were to rip it to the downside now, and if we get a close below 391.30, that could lead to more downside, and that should end up leading to a new low of day. So let's see. IWM is new high of day, but if that strength in the IWM can't continue, then it's also not a good sign that the NASDAQ is showing weakness. So the market is currently just being held up by the IWM. The SPY is being held up by the IWM. The NASDAQ is showing weakness. It's basically just holding above 302.60 support. That's generally not what we really want to see. Yeah, today they're just deliberately messing around with people. It's tough to overtrade on days like this because if they make something look extremely bullish or extremely bearish, then just to mess with the other side, and they're playing around with it. But thankfully, we were patient and we waited for like a good setup. And we waited for momentum, we waited for follow through strength before we decided to go long or short. It's very difficult to try to trade within a chop, right? So we went long on this green candle as it started showing strength because we saw that there was follow through momentum to the upside afterward. If we were just trying to trade this chop, right? Oh wow, this is a very bearish candle. All right, time to go short. Oops, they ripped it up. Okay, time to go long. Oh, never mind, they ripped it down again. So it's tough to trade the chop. That's why we have to just be patient and trade with breaks of the range, etc., etc. So this candle, for example, as we broke, this is a similar candle to the initial one that we went long on. So now we need to see if they're going to reward the late bulls. Okay, everyone should be up 40%. Up here, it becomes way more difficult for late bulls to enter. 392.40 is a major support on the SPY. 303.50 is major support on the NASDAQ. And 174.34 is major resistance on the IWM. So make sure you guys have taken profit. This was a nice pop. We caught the move. Now the level that needs to retain is 392. So they made it, so basically what I was saying was they painted a very bearish picture, right? They painted a very bearish picture off of this rejection, off of like the high of day rejection, another rejection, another rejection. They painted a very bearish picture here. So they made it seem very, very bearish, right? But it was very bearish. It also just did not make sense to go long. And then they made this very big green candle. So it was very difficult for bears and it was very difficult for bulls. So they made it deliberately very difficult for both sides, like I was saying. And IWM is starting to show a bit of weakness. The NASDAQ is showing a bit more relative strength. Let's see if the NASDAQ can break above 304. This is generally a good long opportunity, but because they've been chopping it around. They're probably just gonna rip it down. So they would rip it down to around 392. They'd probably rip it down to 392 and then bounce it up from there. But yeah, there just isn't enough follow through. Every setup that is like a really, really good short or long, they're deliberately doing the opposite. Try to to try to imprison is the wrong word. Catch offside. Try to I don't even know. Already in the trade. Yes, we took longs. And then they hit 40%. And now we're holding runners. IBA is waiting on Fed. Also, because of just the craziness that's also going on with the market in general right now. Okay, so we're at 392. most people definitely sold their longs off of that, off of the weakness that we were just seeing. As soon as they painted a bearish picture and made it simple for people to try to go short, they rip it up. Similar to what happened at the initial time that we dropped. They were making it very easy to be bullish. They were making it very, very easy to be bullish. And they ripped it down. So it's a fun day to trade so far. Thankfully, we got on the right side. But this is deliberate. This is like deliberate manipulation, basically, like on setups that have high success rate and probability of the trades working out. They on certain days they flip it so that when they give a setup like that and they show it, instead of allowing it to continue, once it hits a certain threshold, they disallow it to continue moving up in that direction, and then they reverse it in an attempt to basically capture retail option premiums, because they're option sellers, so they make money selling the options that we're buying. And on days that have high IV, they make more money because we're paying a premium for these, which means they also get a premium for selling. So the more transactions that we take, the more money that they're going to end up making. But then also the more good setups that they show, it'll increase the probability that we'll take more transactions. And as we continue taking more transactions, we'll end up losing a bit more money. And then as we lose more money, human nature will kick in and we're going to want to try to make up for the losses. And yeah, market manipulation. Trust me, I would love to take a lot more trades, but they're not worth taking at the moment. The high quality setups with an extended high quality setups with an extended period of follow through aren't really there. So generally on days like this, right? If there isn't like a lot of good follow through and everything like that, usually the market ends up, just to understand when the market stops acting like this, it's usually around like, it would usually stop playing around by around like 11 to 11:30 a.m. usually. After that, that's when things start moving a bit better. So this was another clear cut short opportunity. Three hundred two sixty is major support on the NASDAQ. 173.40 is major support on the IWM. 390.9 is major support on the SPY. Yeah. So, like I was showing, like another clear cut, great short opportunity. He ripped it up. Tried to play around with premiums. So what I mean is usually after 11:30 a.m. like the chop stops basically. If this was like a really good short opportunity, after that time during the day, generally is when like the market tends to like follow through to the downside a bit more. This is a long. They're probably gonna drop it down, but regardless, basically like you could clearly see that the market is like very choppy. There's not a lot of follow through. I'm not taking a lot of trades. I would love to. I would love to. Trust me, I would love to take 15 trades an hour, but the setups really haven't been there. They haven't really been safe. So So there's different types of market environments, like momentum and range bound, for example, are two. Days that are choppy, it's more range bound. So meaning we would fall to levels of support with like extreme weakness. And once we get to those levels of support, even if the setup looks extremely bearish, on a general momentum day, even if the market is very, very bearish, right? And we get to that level of support, but because it's a range bound day and because the IV is high, they don't allow the momentum to follow through to the downside. So automatically they would hold that level of support. The range is support and resistance. So they would hold that level of support and bounce it off of support. Similar to the upper level of the range. So regardless of how bullish a setup looks, how beautifully bullish a setup would look in terms of momentum, right? Because it's not a momentum filled day. As we get to the upper level of the range, regardless of how bullish or how green the candles and everything look, it will just rip it back down. So that's the issue with range bound days. You're basically hoping that momentum doesn't come. You're basically like this setup here, for example, right? This was the upper range. Momentum generally was going to push this up and make a new high day. I was showing how at this minute candle at 10:06, I was saying how this was like a 10:05 and 10:06. I was saying this was like an amazing opportunity to go long, but they're gonna rip it down because we got to the upper level of the range, and they're just going to sell. They're just going to sell at the upper level of the range, and it fell down. And then a few minutes ago, as things looked extremely bearish once again, right? Things looked very bearish down here. It just ripped it up because we got to 390.9 support. But generally, both of these two instances, over here and down here, if it was a momentum filled day, would break the highs and break the lows. And then the worst part about it is if you were to try to go short down here, you would lose a lot more money normally. So these small candles here, 10-15% losses puts, which is even more difficult. And then also basically deducing all of this in the moment without losing money is even it's more difficult for people. So by the time you end up realizing that that's the market environment that's happening, you've already lost a lot of money. And then as you try to adapt to change the market environment for the day, that's why usually around 11:30, one of the reasons why is retail ends up getting tired. That's one of the reasons. European markets end up closing. There's a few other reasons, but basically by that point, the market tends to like just do its normal thing. It's funny stuff. But yeah, also since we're here, and there's not really much to talk about. One of the other things is that if you realize, on like a daily chart, for example, on the SPY, right, you can see that there's certain like technical formations being formed on a daily chart, right? If you look at the 1 minute chart, also, you can see that those same patterns sometimes show up on the 1 minute chart as well. It's because it's the same algorithms that are making the market So when they make the market, we're visualizing the candlestick movement and the patterns and everything. So the same patterns that we basically see on a daily chart, we also sometimes see them on a 1 minute chart, and that also gives more confluence. So if on the daily chart we were painting like a falling wedge, and the falling wedge ends up breaking lower, if that setup like the day afterward were to show up on a 1 minute chart, it ends up falling lower as well on the 1 minute chart. So yeah, just a random thing to talk about. Yeah, honestly, like this is not really that safe, high quality trade setup to take at the moment. I wanted to come back, have like a big green day, but only took one trade. That trade worked out. Everything else is just not really that safe in my opinion. We could trade more afterward, but yeah, for now I think it's also important for people to like experience the different market environments. And obviously the other thing is you need to document what this is. You need to document what's going on as best as you can. If I wasn't here, you need to be able to try to like, in your trading journal, obviously, like you need to explain in detail why you enter and exit every trade, right? But then you also need to try to explain what you think is going on in the market that day. You need to like try to write, you know, okay, this sector was up this much, this sector was up that much, this is what was going on with Bitcoin. If you could get as detailed and granular as possible with your trading journal every single day, then you have a database of data to look back on. And it's so beneficial, guys. I'm telling you, as soon as I started having a trading journal, I was able to document all of these random thoughts that I was having in my head. All of the things that I'm talking about with IV is very high. The contracts aren't moving that well in this direction. Usually that doesn't lead to follow through. This, all of the different things that I'm talking about, it was because I documented everything. And because I documented all those things, I was able to see the patterns of those things playing out multiple times. So I'm telling you guys, like, please get a trading journal. Just make it. You don't need anything. You just need an Excel. You just need an Excel sheet. You could write things out by hand. Please, it's very, very beneficial. It'll change your life. As soon as I did that, literally, like, I think the next week, I became consistently profitable, which is ridiculous. I became a consistently profitable trader almost like the week after I began with a trading journal. So yeah. But yeah. It doesn't have to be a physical journal, right? You listen to what I said like 5 seconds before. Instead of getting angry in the chat, you would hear that I said you could just get an Excel sheet, right? So yeah, please, like literally with an Excel sheet, you can track back all of the data. You'd be able to like scroll up. You could see like everything in your past. If having a physical journal is like much more difficult, because you don't have like, you would have to open up every single page. But with an Excel sheet, you can Control F. You could be like, okay, today's market environment is very similar to a market environment that happened like a week ago. What ended up happening with my trades on that day a week ago? So having an Excel sheet, having the detailed explanation of the buy price, the sell price, the time that you bought and sold, what was going on with the indices for the day, what was Bitcoin doing, what was the sentiment for the market. It's homework. It takes a lot of work. It's much easier to just sit and just take some trades. But I'm telling you, being as granular as possible with your trades and everything, you're going to, it's so much more beneficial for the long run. So yeah, what I was saying was you try to just be as detailed with your explanations as possible. Why did you enter? Why did you exit? What was going on with everything else? How did you feel while you were in the trade? How many contracts did you buy? What was your overall portfolio size at the moment? What percentage of the portfolio size did you put into each trade? Then you'll be able to like see, okay, like last week, for example, right? Like last week I had a really, really big week. I was more disciplined. This week, I ended up losing my discipline because I felt like I was on cloud nine, and I put a higher portfolio position size than I normally would, and that caused me to make a lot of stupid decisions. And once I made those stupid decisions, I just lost out on a lot of money, and then I ended up taking trades that I wouldn't normally take because I was trying to make up the money. So it's like being able to see what you're doing on like a trading journal is very beneficial, because if this is just in your head, then it's hard to remember everything that just happened after like a big loss or a big win. You understand? Like you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about trying to diminish the pain, or you're basically thinking about the euphoric feeling. But the trading journal and documenting things, it doesn't, your emotions don't matter afterward. So being able to track these things is very, very beneficial. But yeah, overall right now the market isn't really giving good setups. You should have what the market is, like the percentage change for the market for the month, for the week, for the day. I'm telling you guys, if you guys get granular with that, it would be very, very good. I'm telling you, like, it'll really, really change your trading. And if that's the only thing that I can share with you guys, like, I can't explain how important it is for you to have a trading journal. Like, it is very, 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 very beneficial. Like, I promise. It's gonna take a lot of time to put all this in an extra half hour, whatever, right? To document all these things. It's worth it. It's very worth it. Otherwise, you're just trading the market naked and blind. You can't do that. But yeah. Yeah, there's not really much else to do. I'm not gonna be trying to day trade this market at the moment. Things should get better towards the end, later on in the day, after Europe closes, but right now things are choppy. So yeah, so I had a physical journal. Like, that was the main thing that I did that ended up like changing how I trade, right? But so yeah, I mean, you could have a physical journal and then end up later on typing everything. But yeah, definitely I like writing things out way more. But just in terms of like getting the data to visualize it, to see things and everything, to make it easier, typing it would be better later on. But yeah, I agree. Writing it out, that's it's way more beneficial to like the mind. It's way more beneficial to remembering things as well. I agree. know where I can see the sentiment of the market. So by sentiment, you know, what I mean by that is like the percentage change of the market, and then you could also check like what does everyone think right now? Are people very, very bullish? Are people very, very bearish? Are people just neutral? What's going on in the market in the moment? What are the macroeconomic factors that are happening? Is there a war? Is there like what is going on in general in the market? And if you just try to be as detailed as possible with all those things, yeah. Do you know anything about earned? No, I have no idea, man. What about that? How long have you been trading? 12 years. What do you say about Europe closing? Usually the market ends up um, being a bit more fluid after Europe closes. So Europe closes. So the European markets they close. So the European markets and the American markets are open at the same time right now. They end up closing. And then once they close, the market ends up doing better. Yeah, guys. I'm up 200% thanks to you. 200% on what? Yeah, today was pretty dead. Sorry about that. I wish it was a bit faster, but at least we made money. But yeah, definitely, definitely the time to start journaling your trades. Like, enough is enough. Please start journaling your trades. That's the only way you're going to learn. And I can't stress how important it is for you guys to do that. So, yeah, all you need is literally like a notebook, and then make a table, some columns, some rows, or you can have a Google sheet, Google Doc, as someone said. Yeah. Let me see predictions for the rest of the day. Banks are gonna report earnings in a few weeks. That's gonna be hilarious. And Ramadan starts in a few days as well, which means we're gonna be fasting for 30 days. No water, no food from sunrise to sunset. I'm excited. Sorry. Yeah, honestly, it's tough to make it's tough to make a prediction about what the rest of the day is going to have. Basically, anything above 395 would be a good opportunity to just follow through the momentum to the upside. And then anything below 388, 389 would be a good opportunity to go short. But we don't have any news today. Have news tomorrow morning at 10. And then Wednesday we have the FOMC statement. So that should be fun. Statement and the press conference are at 2 and then 2:30. And then Thursday morning, obviously, we have employment claims and more news at 10 a.m. And then Friday, we have more news coming out pre-market, and then at 9:45 a.m. So immediately, the most important news is going to be tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And then Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern time. So things might be. Hopefully tomorrow things are a bit more fluid. Yeah. All right. Wish there was more to do. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. All right, let's see. Thoughts on BTC for next 2 weeks? For the next few weeks, BTC and tech stocks and everything should be good, but let's see. 1 day of fasting, 30 days. I participate in Ramadan. It's not even part of my religion. So, crazy. See that Ramadan fasts are during the day with a meal in the morning and another at night when you say you could. The word. No, yeah. So we're still eating. We just don't eat in between sunrise and sunset, which is usually, depending on where you are, it's like 16 hours. Sometimes it could be more or less, but just during that time, for 16 hours a day, we're not eating or drinking, and for 30 days in a row. So just in general, just scientifically, like fasting is very healthy for you. Basically, like most religious texts, they talk about like the importance of fasting. But yeah, I mean, just fasting is really good for you. So depending on like your health and everything, but you should definitely try it out. All right, guys. Love you guys. Take care. Hope you guys have a good day. Don't overtrade. Get a trading journal. Please get a trading journal. Please. Everyone, start trading journaling. All right? Love you guys. Take care. Have a good one. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be a better day. Goodbye, Asian disappointment. Take care. You're not a disappointment. All right. Love you guys. Make sure you guys eat. Get some rest.